What is radon? Radon is a radioactive gas you can't see, feel, taste, or smell. It forms naturally when uranium, a heavy metal found in the ground and most rocks on the planet, decays, turning into another metal called radium. When radium breaks down, it becomes radon. Radon gas leaves the soil and becomes part of the air and water. It can be in the air around you, but it's usually in very small amounts that aren't harmful. Large amounts of radon cause health problems. Although it's a natural gas that comes from the earth, it can be toxic if you breathe in a lot of it over a long time, but there are some reliable ways you can keep your exposure low. Risks of radon exposure. When you breathe in radon, it gets into the lining of your lungs and gives off radiation. Over a long time, that can damage the cells there and lead to lung cancer. Radon is the second biggest cause of lung cancer after cigarette smoking. If you breathe a lot of radon and smoke, your chance of getting lung cancer is very high. About 21,000 people die each year from lung cancer related to radon. Some research has linked radon to other kinds of cancer, such as childhood leukemia, but the evidence for that isn't as clear. Children may be especially vulnerable to radon's health risks. That's because their lungs have a different size and shape compared to those of adults. Children also breathe at a faster rate. Those factors mean that children get higher doses of radon when they breathe it in. It remains unclear whether this leads to higher rates of lung cancer, but some experts estimate that children could have twice the risk of lung cancer as adults exposed to the same amount of radon. Symptoms of radon exposure. You won't have symptoms of radon poisoning right away. Instead, health problems from the exposure, such as lung cancer, show up after many years. Lung cancer may start as a nagging cough, shortness of breath, or wheezing that doesn't go away. Other symptoms include coughing up blood, having chest pain, or losing weight without trying. If you notice any of these symptoms, call your doctor. There are no routine medical tests that can tell you if you've breathed in too much radon. And no treatments will clear it from your body. But if you think you may have been exposed, talk to your doctor about whether you should have tests to check for signs of lung cancer. Where is radon found? Radon is everywhere. However, some areas have higher levels than others. Several factors make it more likely that radon levels will be higher. For example, radon is often higher in places where there's a large amount of uranium near the surface of bedrock, often in types of rock such as granite, limestone, and shale. Coal deposits also boast higher amounts of radon. Areas with fractured rock below the surface also emit more radon, as do areas with limestone caverns. Some types of soil are more permeable than others. This means that radon gas can pass through this soil easily. Areas with more permeable soil have higher levels of radon. Other types of soil likely to have higher concentrations of radon include soil that's dry most of the time, soil that cracks when it's dry, soil on a slope or hill, soil that's thin, with the bedrock close to the surface. In the U.S., the top 10 states with the highest average levels of radon are Alaska, South Dakota, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Washington, Montana, Kentucky, Idaho, Colorado, Iowa. If your state did not make the top 10, that does not mean you live somewhere with a safe amount of radon. The Environmental Protection Agency says that high levels of radon have been found even in areas where the average radon level is low. The federal agency recommends that you test your house no matter where it's located. How are you exposed to radon? Buildings such as your home, school, or office are built into the ground. If there are cracks in floors, walls, or small openings for pipes or wires that aren't fully sealed, radon can escape the soil and get indoors. Though it can get trapped in any enclosed area, radon levels are often highest in basements and crawl spaces because they're closest to the ground. Experts say that nearly 1 out of 15 houses in the U.S. have increased radon levels. Some building materials, such as concrete and wallboard, are made from natural substances that emit radon. So are granite countertops, but the amount these sources emit is mostly low. They might raise the radon level in your home, though not likely to dangerous levels. Your job may put you in contact with radon, especially if you work underground or with phosphate fertilizers. Radon is also in water that comes from lakes, rivers, and reservoirs, but most of it is released into the air before the water gets to you. If your home's water supply comes from a well or another groundwater source, it may have more radon than water from a treatment facility. How do you test your home for radon? Radon is measured in picocuries, which are units of radioactivity. The average home in the US has a radon level of 1.3 picocuries per liter, which is considered safe. But the EPA estimates that about 6 million homes in the US exceed 4 pci/L, that is what the EPA calls their action level. Houses with radon at this level or higher need to be fixed. If you own a home with a radon level between 2 and 4 pci/L, the EPA recommends that you consider fixing it. The EPA and the U.S. Surgeon General advise that every homeowner test their home for radon. Testing requires little effort on your part. Here's how to do it. First, get a test kit. These are widely available. Options include buying one at your local home improvement store or from an online retailer, ordering one from National Radon Program Services at Kansas State University, which also offers discount coupons, contacting your state radon office, which may provide free or discounted test kits. Once you have your test kit, read the instructions and follow them carefully. They typically require you to place the test kit in the lowest level of your house, such as your basement if you have one. The test kit should be 3 feet off the ground in the center of the room. To get the most accurate results, do the following. Keep windows and doors leading to the outside of your home closed except to go in and out. Keep the test kit away from drafts, high heat, humidity, and exterior walls. Don't place the test kit in your kitchen, laundry room, or bathroom. After the test kit is in place, all you have to do is wait. The waiting time depends on the type of test you use. Short-term test kits require anywhere from 2 to 90 days to provide results. Long-term test kits require more than 3 months. Your test kit will include instructions about where to send it for analysis once the testing period is complete. Send your test kit right away for the most accurate results. If you use a home test for radon, place the test in the lowest level of your home and away from any drafts. If you prefer, you can hire a professional to test your home. Your state radon office can provide a list of credentialed professionals in your area. What to do after you get your radon test results? If your results are above 4 pci/L, retest if you used a short-term test and take the average of the two results. Have a professional install a radon reduction system if your two short-term tests average above 4 pci/L, or if a long-term test result is above 4 pci/L if your results are between 2 and 4 pci/L. Consider installing a radon reduction system. If your results are below 2 pci/L, you don't need to do anything. If you move to a lower level of your home, test again. How to reduce radon levels. Your radon level can be reduced to safe levels no matter where you live or what type of house you have. And it can be done quickly. If you live in a single-family home, your contractor will likely be able to install a radon mitigation system in one day. There are different ways to reduce radon levels in your home. One effective method is active soil depressurization. Your contractor will fit a plastic pipe into the soil beneath your house. A fan attached to the pipe will continuously suck radon gas out and release it outdoors so that it never enters your home. The design of your house will determine how your contractor will set up your ASD system. For example, if your house is built on a concrete foundation, called a slab, the pipe will be inserted into a hole made in the slab. If your house is built on a crawl space rather than a slab, your contractor will cover the soil with a polyethylene sheet that gets sealed to the foundation walls of your home. A pipe and fan are installed to create a vacuum under the sheet and vent the radon outdoors. In addition to installing an ASD, your contractor will seal any cracks or other openings in your foundation. This helps prevent radon from entering your home and makes your ASD system more effective. Opening windows, doors, and vents on the lower level of your house creates natural ventilation that can temporarily reduce radon levels. However, your radon levels will rise to their previous levels in about 12 hours after closing windows, doors, and vents. Your radon level should be tested at least every 2 years once you have installed a radon mitigation system to ensure that your radon level stays low. You also should keep an eye on your mitigation system to make sure it continues to work properly. Fans typically last 5 years or more, but they may finally require repair or replacement. Fan-powered systems, which should not be turned off, have a device that will alert you if something goes wrong. The cost of radon reduction. The national average cost is $1,200, with prices ranging from $800 to $1,500. Several factors influence how much you'll pay for a radon reduction system, including the size and design of your home, the type of foundation of your home, the construction materials used to build your home, your local climate. Most fan systems come with a 5-year warranty. Their lifespan is typically 10 to 15 years. They don't cost much to operate. They require about the same amount of electricity as a 60 to 90 watt light bulb turned on at all times. Takeaways. Exposure to radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer after smoking. Though you may live in an area with a low average radon level, the only way to know if your house is safe is to test it. Once tested, high radon levels can be effectively reduced so that this radioactive gas poses no threat to your and your family's health. Radon FAQs. What does radon in a house cause? Radon significantly raises your risk of lung cancer. Is it okay to live in a house with radon? It depends on the level of radon. The EPA recommends every home be tested to be sure that radon does not exceed safe levels. What are the symptoms of too much radon? You can't see or smell radon, so you won't know it's there without testing. Radon exposure raises your risk of lung cancer. These are the symptoms of concern: shortness of breath, a new or worsening cough, pain or tightness in your chest, hoarseness, trouble swallowing. See your doctor if you have these symptoms. What houses have radon? Any house can have some radon. It is important to find out whether your home has a level of radon considered unsafe. You can, and should, test your home for radon. Where is radon most commonly found? Radon is found everywhere. However, the levels of radon vary from place to place. Outdoors, radon does not pose a threat. However, if it reaches a high concentration indoors, exposure to it can cause lung cancer. What is a high radon level? The EPA advises radon mitigation if your home has a level above 4 pci/L. The federal agency recommends considering radon mitigation if your home's radon level falls between 2 and 4 pci/L. A level below 2 pci/L is considered safe.